Hello, hello. This is the Chicas Plus Equals podcast, a place where two chicas from Eastern Europe navigate real life. We're talking health, habits, mindset, relationships, and everything in between. Join the girl talk.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Johanna. How are you?
Hello, I'm really good, and I think you can hear the smile in the smile that I have right now.
Oh, that's really sweet. Yeah, this is our first episode. It's been a long time coming. We've been talking about this for ages.
Yes, and like non officially, we started talking about it years ago, actually, like just as a joke.
I can still remember the day.
Yeah.
How is stuff in Belgrade?
Life here actually is not. Situation here is not very good. It's not going well. The politics and everything right now, it's not the best. But when I
What's happened?
Well, protests are all around, not just Belgrade, but all around Serbia right now because of some stuff that happened or have been happening in the last few years in Serbia, especially last December or November, sorry, where 16 people died because of some incident that shouldn't be incident, and I don't know. It's weird around here now, but I try not to. I don't know if that's good or bad. I try not to watch news, not to read news,
Mm-hmm.
not to follow stuff on social media because it affects me. It
Yeah,
Yeah. So all that I know through people around me,
yeah.
and I'm thinking sometimes I'm so much in my own bubble, with the stuff that I'm doing in my life and focus that I have, like intentions in my life. And I feel like that what is happening right now in Belgrade is a whole new world, and it's scary. It's scary. How is
Well,
life with you?
I feel like just to follow up on that, I think that's why we kind of spend the time to develop these habits of taking care of ourselves and self-development, so that in times like this, we can take care of ourselves and be prepared for
Yeah.
whatever happens. Stuff like here is good. I'm currently in Cambridge, but as I told you before, I am planning to go back to Romania in a 2 days' time, and I don't know how to feel about it.
Hmm.
I've been stocking up on Romanian music and culture for the past few days to kind of get back into the rhythm and empathize a bit more with my home country. But I'm having mixed feelings about it. There's something pulling me to go back, but at the same time, there's nothing to go back to. So we'll see.
Mm. When was the last time you went to Romania?
Just a year ago, I think, before I came to Cambridge to do my studies. So
Oh.
not a long time ago. Doesn't feel like a long time ago, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But now, on kind of to follow up from that, is um, we actually met for the first time when we both decided to leave our whole country for an interesting experience abroad, haven't we?
Yes, and I don't think we were aware what we were up to. I feel like, do you remember how was that decision for you? Because for me, when I found the opportunity to go to another country that we will talk about, I was in college and I was so, wow, like I'm gonna go and like this, there is a sea and I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna live there and it's so cool. And for me, that was just like, wow, I didn't think of much more about it. I didn't take it, I think, too seriously. And maybe it's not a bad idea. Like, we were young and it's not like we weren't changing lives or anything, but how was
Mm.
your thought process of like applying there?
My God, you weren't changing lives, but that's what I was going there to do. Okay, like to give the background to the listeners, we first met in Antalya, Turkey, as English volunteers or volunteers at an organization called Isaac. I can't remember what the name stands for, but how I found out about it was through these events, these international events that were organized in my city. And my sister has been to those events. I've been to the events, and the entire concept was around multicultural exchange and community, and the way this works is there's volunteering communities in all countries around the world, and they organize projects. The system is really well, like the organization is really well structured from the inside, like for to motivate people to be in the community, in the organization, and to organize projects and so on. They have their own curriculum of the Isaac way and how
Mm.
to kind of work on, mostly it's around self-development stuff. It's public speaking, it's soft skills, it's like it's cultural awareness, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I found out about them through one of these legacy projects called Grow. It's an event my sister has been to when she was my age, like 14 or so, and they reorganized it when I was 14. And that actually was the first self development project I've been to in my life ever. It started with this organization, and it meant a lot to me. I think I met my first international friends there. There's some Egyptians, some people from Thailand, all over the world, and it really exposed me to the outside world because beforehand I have not left Romania at all.
And you were 14.
Yeah, I was 14.
Like, wow. What was I doing in 40 when I was 14?
Well, what motivated you to kind of take this step? Was it curiosity with regards to travel, or was it a self-development drive? Was it just interested in other culture? What was it for you?
Definitely traveling. I've always loved traveling, and that was my first time that I would go, not abroad, traveling by plane and being on a place like that. Because up until that point, the only places abroad that I visited were places around Serbia, and going to Antalya with the palms and the beaches and view that it has with the mountains and everything is just
Yes,
so
beautiful.
wow. Yes. I think that was my main motivator in that moment. Like, I want to go and see that place and have that new experience.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's actually very valid as well because it's the curiosity, it's the desire to explore. For me, it was very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so that's when I first kind of encountered the organization when I was 14, but it was only when I was 18 when I actually went abroad through this exchange. And in the meantime, from 14 to 18,
Hmm.
I was a volunteer at these soft skills development NGOs. I was fundraising. I went through my own self-development journey over those years. I was part of public speaking events, and I went to Toastmasters and stuff like that. So when the time came for me to turn 18, actually this trip for me was my birthday present for turning 18. I wanted to go abroad and to test myself and see. On the one hand, I wanted to see how if I would be okay, if I would manage abroad alone, because I was thinking of studying abroad the next day. So I wanted
Hmm.
to kind of prepare myself. But on the other hand, I was really keen on doing these projects, these volunteering projects abroad, because I've done them so much in my local area.
Uh-huh.
So for me, I was really enthusiastic and really excited about teaching public speaking and teaching self-development in English to other people. But as we'll later tell them, it did not turn out like that at all. Okay, it was yeah.
But I mean, your experience up until that moment was very much like rich because you've tried so many things, you were interested in so many things. Me, on the other hand, I was only focused on school and academic, and that was an influence from my parents actually because they were afraid that if I branch out, if I start maybe focusing on additional, like, let's say, extracurriculars, I would maybe drop out of school or like not have good grades, not pass and stuff like that. And so I was always taught that, like, this is a priority and it's not like what you were doing, it's actually helping you, not like also building academic life.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes. But I didn't have anyone to tell me that and like to or I also didn't have anyone to learn from in that moment. And I wasn't even thinking about these things. Like my first job was when I was at the end of university.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I mean, I think that's the normal path most people go on,
Yeah.
which is it's fair. Um, I think this is a longer conversation, but the thing that pushed me to do these things was, on the one hand, my own struggles, because I was a very socially anxious kid. And actually, grow for me, I remember when I went to the event, I was just too scared to talk to anyone. I was petrified. I was battling some extreme social anxiety, and I remember like crying after the first day of the event. So I think it was this internal drive, but at the same time, I just don't know. I think I was always good at school, so and my parents never really pushed me. They always let me decide what I wanted to do with my life. Um,
Mhm.
they did care about grades, yes, but they didn't care how I did them. So as long as I got good grades, I could do any extracurricular I wanted, as long as it doesn't affect my grades. So I
Mhm.
ended up doing both things on the side at the same time, and it turns out that in the end, I had my best grades when I had a lot of projects on the side.
Uh-huh. You're side hustling since 14.
I was. Yeah, but nothing could have prepared me for what happened in Turkey. It was chaotic. It was so many issues. It was the organization was so confusing, and it was honestly one of the most stressful things I've done in my life. So I'm very curious if your experience was similar or not. Can you like tell me before you arrived, like getting the ticket and preparing and the day before, because those were a bit charged as well for me.
I was nervous the whole time because that was the first time that I was supposed to travel by plane, and I was alone. And I noticed that, well, at least back then, organization in Isaac wasn't good. At least in this, my experience was not very best. And
Hmm.
up until literally the night before I should have go and like fly, I didn't know who is gonna wait for me. Turned out no one waited for me. um, and so I didn't have a contact or anyone. Because you have a manager, right? That's how it's called. Like someone who is gonna support you through the way. He didn't know who's gonna wait for me and like my point of contact from like Antalya, and I was like, okay, this is I don't know how should I feel about it because once I leave Serbia, I don't have internet and I don't have like how to reach even my manager who is in Serbia. And so it was stressful, and I was also afraid of the because I bought a big suitcase. I was afraid of the weight of the suitcase that it doesn't because we were gonna be there for a month and a half, and I brought stuff, and my dad trying to measure the suitcase on a scale, he broke it. So I was nervous, but I was telling myself that I was excited as well, and I wanted to focus on that, like being excited and seeing it as like, oh my god, I'm so brave. I'm traveling for the first time and I'm doing it alone. And so
Little did you know what you're getting yourself into. I feel like
yeah.
that excitement protected you because I had nothing but fear before I left.
Really?
I honestly, so to just to clarify things, so with Isaac, you have basically each Isaac community or office has contact with all the other offices on the globe, and they would you would have a manager that basically recruited you from your area to go on exchange, and they will be responsible of you during the exchange, but from afar because they'll still be in the place home base basically. But then you would, when you go on exchange, then the coordinators from the local Isaac you're traveling to are supposed to take care of you. So we were supposed to have this manager. We're not going to mention names here, but
Mm-hmm.
our manager from Antalya was extremely bad. He
Mm.
didn't organize anything in time. We were supposed to have host families and stay at a local.
He seemed
And
like he wasn't interested in doing this stuff.
he was interested. He later on ended up climbing the ladder to reach whatever prizes within the organization. But the job he did for Antalya was absolutely terrific. There were people traveling from all over the world who ended up not having places to stay and sleeping in mosques.
Yes. Yeah, that was what I was afraid of when I arrived, cuz he told me that he didn't have a host family for me cuz I was supposed to have one, and I was sitting there. First of all, no one arrived for me from the airport, so I had to manage my own, which later on I was very proud of with my very limited Turkish, to change the bus and change the taxi and arrive there and spend hours on my first day, hours in one little room and like waiting for them to figure it out where I'm gonna be for the next month and a half. And in the meantime, there were some girls who came earlier before us, and they were telling me how some people from their project, they don't have host families, and they were supposed to, like, they were living in, like, started to live in motels, hotels that they were paying by themselves. I was like, nah, like, if that happens to me, I'm gonna drag this person. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. So it was a very stressful first day.
It was. For me, it was. I remember. I remember before I was leaving, I had some issues with like the plane, and I got the wrong ticket, and
No.
I didn't know. The day before I was supposed to leave, right? I just turned 18, and my parents were super, super scared to of leaving me abroad on my own in a country I don't speak the language of,
Mm-hmm.
and they themselves have not traveled to this part of the country, and they did not travel abroad, so they were really scared as well because they had no idea what my experience would be like. Um, and also not knowing where I was going to stay, for them, it was really shocking. I don't know how they had the courage to let me go, but I remember the day before I was back home and I had to repack and everything. I felt like I was jumping out of an airplane. I felt
Mm.
so scared because we didn't know where we were supposed to stay, and I didn't know how I was going to get back because the tickets and everything were rather expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to buy two of them because I had an issue. So everything was super expensive. And it was is you had no idea how you would get back, because of that the financial issue. Um, so it was honestly, I've never felt that sort of pressure in my life. But then in the end, I go to the airport, I arrive in Istanbul, I have to change airports in 3 hours and go
Oh.
from one place to another because I didn't notice on the booking that there was a change of airports from the east side to the west side of Istanbul
Oh no. Oh my
during
God.
the layover. That was my first time, and I somehow managed. I had like maps printed out with the way I have to go. I asked people. I can't recall the way I got out of that airport and I went. I just can remember being on the bus, but I cannot remember how I got there.
Uh-huh.
I just remember trying to talk to these people that didn't know any English,
Uh-huh. Yes.
and somehow even the policemen didn't speak English, like airport staff didn't speak English. I have no idea. I think I was so shocked I couldn't remember. And then I had prepared before I left an Airbnb to arrive at because I still didn't know where I was going. As I was waiting for my plane from Istanbul to Antalya, my manager texted me. I had a good manager, fortunately, a local manager that really fought for me. And my manager told me, this guy from Antalya, the coordinator from Antalya, found a host. You better go. And I said, well, I already have my Airbnb. I'm going to go tomorrow. And she said, very wise woman, go now or you might not have where to stay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
My parents, if they knew, to this day, they have no idea what happened,
Oh
how hard it was
my God, what a sentence to say to a
to an 18-year-old, right?
yes. Oh my God.
I signed up. What did I signed up to be homeless in Antalya, essentially.
Yes. Dear God.
yeah, so then I got there, and yeah, nobody was waiting for me either. I know I remember talking to the coordinator, giving me directions of how to get from the plane from the airport to the city, and um, again, no internet, people didn't speak English. Somehow found my way to buying the tickets, and a lady
Mm-hmm.
helped me out. And then I got on the train.
Uh-huh. To the city center. Yeah, and if you remember, we met in front of a shopping center in the
Yes,
city center, which I remember. I forgot the name.
and then I met you. We met in Antalya in the city center after the most horrid travel experience both of us had had in our life.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. And I remember when I met you, I remember feeling relieved because that day was very not like it wasn't a good day. And I was like, okay, like someone you seemed approachable, you seemed nice. And I was like, okay,
Aw.
another girl, another someone else who I can share this struggle with. And I felt relieved and happy in that moment. I was like, okay, we're gonna go, like we're together now, and let's see
Mm-hmm.
where we're gonna go. I was so focused on the bus ride. I was so focused on the
I
streets and where
remember.
where we're
I
going.
remember. I remember my first memory of you was you on the bus being so fixated on memorizing the way. It
Oh.
was It was fantastic. Yeah, the first time I met you, I think at first I at first I wasn't very comfortable with you from the start,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
because I think you were very, very stressed out, looking around and trying to get as much information as possible.
Because I
But
didn't trust the people so far. Like they
you
didn't give me
didn't.
reason to trust. So I was like, okay, I have to
I sensed that. That
live
was the
my life.
thing that I sensed first, is that it didn't trust anyone here.
Yeah. Oh God.
Um, but that was okay. But that was fine. So then we are on the bus. We meet each other. The coordinator comes and picks us up, and then he gets us on this bus to the outskirts of Antalya. And we think, oh, everything is fine. We're going to go somewhere and live for 6 weeks. Oh, good. Oh, nice. Everything is settled. No, little did we know. So we were on this bus. You were trying to memorize the way, the city from one bus ride.
It,
I was,
in the middle of the night, because it was night in that moment.
I was evening or something like that. And then
Gosh.
we get to this family. We get to stay at this family on the outskirts. At first, I didn't notice that we were in a very like poor area.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a normal house and everything was fine. I think we were just so tired and it was night. You couldn't quite tell what was around.
Yeah.
But we get in, and that's where it all starts. The coordinator abandons us, and then
Yeah.
it's the two of us in this family, and they start giving us food, and you're starting to talk with your English, with your Turkish fluently with them.
The Turkish that I started learning like a month before that with my manager, like local manager. He was studying Turkish and he was teaching me some. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna use my Turkish, which was very limited. But I was excited. I was like, okay, my opportunity to speak another language. Let's do it.
What
Uh,
was your first impression of the house, the family, when we arrived? I can't remember. Was it only the two of us that arrived, or at that time did we have the other girls as well?
can't remember.
I think it was just the two of us for the first night.
Yeah, and maybe the day after other girls came, and mind you, that's like one bedroom, like bedroom, kitchen, living room, like a regular small apartment. And how many? Like seven of us were
Yeah,
there?
yeah. So when we got there, it was the two of us, and this house had basically their parents' room, a living room, and a children's room.
There are two children, young children.
Yeah. So do you want to like tell me how you remember the night we kind of went and said hello? Because I have a very vivid memory of it, but I'm curious how you remember it.
Really? I don't. I
Really?
don't
Okay.
know.
Okay. Then I'll share my version of it. The first thing I remember when we got into the house was um the father and the host father preparing like dragon fruit for us. And the children being in the living room. I remember being in the living room with the kids, the host parent, the host mom, and we were around the table just chatting and getting to know each other, and we were trying to find a way to communicate. You were using Turkish, I was using Google Translate. But you were really good. You were really good with the kids and with Turkish, and you were really open to everyone. And then I think that's why they like started preparing us like some snacks and something.
Hmm.
I remember that was like really nice.
Well, welcoming.
Yeah, yeah, they were very welcoming. I think uh, the person I can remember the most was the host father, which will end up to continue will turn out to be a very reoccurrent character in our entire journey. Um, but then that happiness didn't last for long, did it?
Yes, because I wanted to say that overall, like thoughts and opinion and like memories that I have from that host family, the whole family, is not a very positive one. Like the one word that I can explain them is like very weird. This slash dysfunctional family. I don't know how
Wait, don't give it
they're
away. Don't give it
functioning.
away. Did you notice they were weird from the first day?
I mean, the woman was weird from the get go. Like she was a bit strange with also her face, like expressions as well, and like her
Yeah.
being. I think maybe it was a language barrier, and so she wasn't comfortable because we were like talking in English, and the father was very like, "Oh, I want to welcome you." Like he was much more positive in that way at the beginning, and she was much more like anytime from what I remember anytime she would speak it would be like like almost like just barely and mostly to herself like she didn't feel comfortable speaking.
Oh yeah, let us tell you guys, this woman that we had as the host mother was such a character. Um,
Literally.
she would, I mean, it was funny because we would be in the living room. We lived there for such a long time, but she would often just disappear all of a sudden and go like smoke or play video games in the kitchen.
Oh my
Um,
god, a
like
few times I caught her in the middle of the night. Like she has a family and like few times I would
we're not being
catch
judgmental
her.
here, but it was an interesting dynamic to kind of
Yeah.
go into.
Yes.
Yes, maybe I thought at first we thought it was a language barrier. But then I think first night we stayed in this like we stayed in the kids' room, and which was a mess, and it was a mess. It was the worst of the worst, guys. It was not a hotel hostel. It was somebody's disheveled room for two kids.
Yes, and again, eight of us actually. I counted, not seven, eight. Three other girls,
The
you and
first day
me.
was only the two of us.
Yes, but like for a day, right? Or so.
Let's take it chronologically.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was a mess with just the two of us, let alone with eight people all
Yeah,
living in a small
there was
place.
like
Like it was.
clothes thrown everywhere in the room. It looked like the room wasn't clean for ages.
And
They
the
had some. Go on.
no, I want to say the funniest thing is that the lady was cleaning every day. Like I would see her every day cleaning the apartment, and every morning after it was a mess. It was like she didn't do anything. I was always very
I mean,
curious.
those kids always mess the living room every day, and
Yeah,
she messed the living room every day.
wow. It's
It
a
was
vicious
interesting.
cycle. It was
It
a
was a
vicious
very
cycle.
interesting home to be in. I cannot. I think the next day we went and finally visited the school. Because we were
Hmm.
supposed to organize to kind of volunteer.
Yeah,
Um,
to be like
and
assistants and like helping teachers.
Yeah, well, initially we were supposed to kind of. I signed up because when you sign up to for Isaac projects and exchange, you go on their platform and you choose the type of volunteering and where
Hmm.
you're going to do it. And on the posting, it was stuff about you're going to teach self-development, you're going to give courses on this and that, and a lot of these cool things.
It's good
Um,
marketing.
it was great marketing. It looked fantastic, and the concept is really good, but the execution was, yeah, the marketing was great. But the project we ended up having was not the project that I signed up for. We ended up being assigned an English school called English Time. What up, English time? Really
Yeah.
cool. Really cool place. Which was a private English school in Antalya
In the city center.
in the city center. Yeah, it was great location, fantastic place.
That was
Um,
the best part of it. The
and it turns
location.
out we were lucky, weren't we? Because all the other volunteers didn't get jobs at all or had some really shitty jobs.
Yeah.
So out of dozens and dozens of volunteers, because I remember we ended up meeting some of them at a gathering or something,
Mm,
Isaac uh, pub in Antalya, and there were dozens of people from everywhere, and some were telling us that they had no projects, so they end up traveling all the time, you know.
mm-hmm.
We ended up meeting a bunch of them. I think my first photo on Instagram ever was us on the beach of Antalya with like dozens of other people,
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
which was nice.
Navigating on our own through the city to go to the beach, like the
Yeah,
group of us.
it was great, right?
Yeah. 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 Actually, and not only that, we also turned out to have really good relations with teachers there. Like throughout the whole journey, we became friends and we were spending time outside of school with them also. And that was a big part of
Yeah,
the reason, at least for me, why the experience was so good.
yeah, yeah. So whilst we were at the school, we were basically part of the staff at the school, and we would go in the office and help them kind of prepare lessons. They were really
Yeah.
open-minded. There were people from everywhere around the world, weren't they?
Yeah, teachers are also internationals. They're not Turkish.
Yeah, all of them international, so fun. All of them, I remember all of them. They're so dear to my heart. I feel like because we were kind of their mentee, you
Mhm.
know, this was their job. We were just volunteers. It was really cool. I can remember all the teachers, and I remember one of them was like, "Yeah, I traveled in like 12 countries, and now I'm teaching English." Um,
No.
and everyone was super sweet. Um, but so that was it was cool, wasn't it? Because I think in the end we had a place we had a community, we had a job to do, you know. The
Yeah.
students there were really cool, and we ended up just assisting English classes.
I wanted to ask you, were you disappointed because you weren't doing what you thought that you would be doing? Because to be honest, I wasn't because teachers were very relaxed. Even like they were like, like have fun, and they were having fun. Like they weren't, stressed or I don't know. And so it made me also relax and not be so uptensed and like take it too seriously. And it, for me, that was okay. But you had a completely different like vision that what you're gonna do in Turkey. So were you disappointed?
I'm sure that at first, the first few days, I was a little bit disappointed. But because it was a bit weird. But to be honest, I was in such survival mode whilst I was there from the first day that I was just happy to have something similar to what I wanted to because everything was so uncertain, you know. I honestly was in survival mode. I couldn't even have time to think about uh, is this what I wanted or not. I was just taking it every day, day by day, because we would go to a school where everything was super new. You know, the school was new and we had to get used to how to do things and the students were new and we had nobody really knew what was going on, so I we really had to take it one day at a time.
Hmm.
Then we would go back home and we would be in this very strange environment. I think I have every single day I was in survival mode, so
Wow.
I was very present. It wasn't bad, but I was very present, you know. I had no judgment on it. In
Mm-hmm.
the end, um, I'd also to add, whilst I was in Antalya, I was also coordinating from afar a public speaking course in my hometown. So,
That's one of my first impressions of you, actually. It's connected. But you finish if you want. If you
what
want.
was it? What
You
was
finish, please, and I'll tell you. I just wanted to tell you.
No, 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 I'm
Uh,
curious. What was the first impression? Like, was the first impression or was it the impression that you got afterwards? Because I
uh,
remember me working all the time.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, not first, but one of the impressions that I had at the beginning of you is you even brought your laptop to Antalya, and I remember that you were on your laptop, you were doing business, I don't know, projects, assignments, and as you said, like with your no, not classmates from Romania, like
Yeah, there were other volunteers. So
volunteers.
I was coordinating the seventh edition of my NGO's public speaking course, which I attended when I was 15 or so.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really important project for me, and I was doing that. So I was the basically the manager of the project, and I had people back home working to make this
Mm-hmm.
happen. So they had to find sponsorships, they have to find people, they had to get the financials in order, they had to do the marketing and the sales, and I was far away. So it
Mm.
was I was the co-coordinator, but the main coordinator bailed out. So it ended up just being me, kind of
Mm-hmm.
making sure this ship doesn't sink whilst I was in another country, scared for my own life because I had
Yeah.
no idea what I was doing and where would I sleep the next day. And I remember it was a really interesting time to do both of them at the same time. I remember, I think one of the nights I was at on the balcony of this house and I was talking with the sales rep in the team, and she was very scared because the NGO was shutting down during the time. They didn't know if they had to change partners and stuff. So she was giving me a pep talk on how I can't give up on coordinating this
Oh
project.
my God.
So yeah, I guess that's why I seemed like I was very serious all the time, wasn't I?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Serious, organized, like you look like you know what you're doing and you have your life together and you know what you want to be and where you want to go. And I was there just like la 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 la, look at this, look at that, look at like I was just focused on like I don't know wanting to like see things, explore things, and we did a lot of traveling. A lot of traveling. I think
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. We were traveling like each week for maybe half of the week at the beginning, and I was focused on that, like just having fun. Meanwhile, you being 18, like so serious there, and serious in that way, like focused
I
on
was so scared. I
wow.
think I noticed that as well because I feel like I was the only one that realized how dangerous the situation we are in is. So,
Mm-hmm. I have a question. Have you moved while you were there from the host family? Have you
no,
changed host family?
no. So let's give them the story. So now this is how shit goes down. Um, we we go to the school for the first day. At the end of the first day, the next day after we arrived, we see the school, everything is good. We think everything is in order. We had this impression that, oh, okay, now everything is in order. We have a host family, we have a school. We go back home, and at the end of that first day, we have our host mother shows us her phone and gets us into the living room and tells us,
I
"You're leaving
remember that.
tomorrow." She's telling us, "You're leaving tomorrow." And
Yeah, meanwhile, other girls came, and it was me and other girl that would have to move.
right, right. So to keep it orderly, we were supposed to stay there for 6 weeks,
Yeah,
guys.
the
So
entire time.
yeah, we thought, okay, we have a host family, we'll stay here for 6 weeks. That's what we were prepared to do. But the next day, not even 24 hours later, we get a message you're being kicked out.
Yes.
So do you remember what was the reason?
No, I remember her telling us that she also from Isaac like received the information that she's gonna have only like two or three people in the house, and like we were gonna be there from temporarily, like from the moment,
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning, which was not the story that was told to us. That's what I remember her telling us.
100%. So this woman was given wrong information on Instagram. How they find accommodation for us was they posted something the day before we arrived on Instagram, and this woman always being on her phone, noticed, and she was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, sure, I'll take some travelers to stay at my house for a few days. It's fine, for a day." And she was given wrong information. She had no idea what Isaac was. She didn't know that we paid to be there because we paid quite a
Yeah.
hefty sum to 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 be there, and that sum was supposed to cover accommodation, organizational costs, no travel expenses, just like accommodation and the volunteering thing. So it was all on our own money coming here to travel and to volunteer. And these people didn't know anything about it. So on that first night, um, we end up having the conversation with the lady, and she was shocked. She was like, "What?" She had no idea. And in the meantime, other girls came because this was their only contact point. This is their only volunteer, their only host that Isaac managed to contact. So they sent all the volunteers to this one house that had only two rooms, right? It was crazy. And yeah, there was just the thing that we found out in the end, we're just so talking crap about this organization at this point. Um,
But I mean, that was our experience. And what was, I don't want to say funny, because it wasn't funny, it was scary actually. The place that we were supposed to move, me and other girl, was not a place that organization found. It was
Wait,
a.
wait, 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 wait. You're jumping. You're jumping. Okay. So, would you like to tell us how we ended up meeting first the host, the new host that you went to, and how we ended up there? So, like, mind telling the story? So we talked to this lady. She tells us we're supposed to leave the next day. We're telling her we're supposed to be here for 6 weeks, and
Yeah.
then she tells us, do you remember?
No.
She tells us she has like a friend, right?
Friend.
She
Yeah.
told us actually it was at this point another girl came from Tunisia, and another girl from Algeria.
Algeria. Two girls from Algeria, I think. Both,
Oh
I think
yeah,
both of them are from Algeria.
the first day, so that day when we had the conversation was only four of us, and the next day another girl from Algeria came here. So we end up being five in this house, and then at the end of that week, another three people came, another three girls came, so we end up being eight people in this house where they only had a room for their parents, a room for their kids. And these people ended up sleeping in their living room on the floor and on the couch whilst they were hosting eight homeless volunteers from abroad.
I don't even have a reaction to that.
Right. Guys, don't tell us we don't travel, we're not interesting because this was pretty cool. Very scary. So we talked to this lady, and she told us when she noticed that we were scared, um, don't worry, you girls, you go out and have fun, go to the club.
Yeah.
Okay, you remember?
Go
Go on.
enjoy. No, no, no. I don't remember details. I do remember that. Telling us, and the friend is gonna meet us there. Like her friend.
Uh-huh. And then so she tells us I have this friend. She's going to take you out. Before previously, we contacted the manager of Isaac Antalya, and he gave us a load of crap about how we're going to move out a lady the next day. Yep. And who shows up in a BMW, a black BMW? This random Turkish man.
Typical Turkish man.
Very typical Turkish man. This is guys, imagine the image of Turkey.
Literally. And the guy.
Did not speak
I
any English.
remember him with sunglasses. I don't know if in that
Yes, yes.
moment he, yeah.
Night. Guys, sunglasses at night.
Yeah.
Mind you. Not shady at all, right? Three girls in a black BMW
My
with a
goodness gracious.
stranger going clubbing in Antalya. Our parents would be proud of us at that point.
Dear God.
So
Dear
this
God.
first, yep. Okay, I'll let you continue the story as you remember it.
I just remember. I don't. You remember vividly that part. I guess I blocked it out. I just remember us moving there.
Wow. I think I
I
was just
remember like going back from the club, and she was like, "Oh, but that's the guy you're gonna live with."
exactly. We end up being driven to go clubbing in Antalya, the three of us, me, you, and the girl from Tunisia.
But the
And
funniest thing I just remembered is we were with that guy and we were trying to, from what I remember, ignore him the whole night basically because we didn't know the guy and we weren't comfortable with him. So we were just trying to pretend like he doesn't exist.
exactly. So we were this man, the poor man, not even a guy. We end up going to the city center where the nightlife is. And I remember every single club owner known this guy. That was everybody said hello to him.
Uh,
He said hello to everyone. Red flags, red flags, red flags. Like honestly, who is this guy? And then we end up going to this super cool club in center of Antalya. To be honest, Antalya nightlife, big up, super cool. Um, we were at this club with an interesting theme and lots of decorations. So we were looking around the place, the venue, trying to ignore this man because this was not a guy. This was a proper man,
yeah.
strange man. We're trying to ignore this man, and he at some point we were like just looking around. Our friend was just like having fun, enjoying the music, and then at some point also the reason why we were with this guy is because the host mom called him. So this was a friend of the host mom. Um, and she was trying in the meantime to figure out where we will stay. So whilst we were in the club, do you remember this guy takes his phone out with Google Translate
I do.
and he tells us, I am your new host. Guys, we were
Golden.
expecting a woman. Our face dropped. I remember Jovana's face was like, what?
I was refusing to believe it.
In denial. I am your new host, guys. You're stranded in a country you've never been in before. The first time you travel, you have nowhere to stay, and some random strange Turkish man tells you you're going to live at my place.
This should be a
Heck,
book or a movie.
we were you scared? How did you feel when
I was
when
in denial. I remember I was in denial. Like, no way.
yeah,
No
you were.
way.
I remember.
I'm not gonna even listen to you because no way. That was it. Like, and it was funny because he doesn't know English and so he was communicating with Google Translate, and I couldn't take him seriously. He was sending us, he was showing us messages, communication with our host lady, but
Hmm.
I was no way.
Yeah. So the next few days, so in the end, the few of the girls are offered to move in at this guy's place because the host mother called a friend. Let's keep it a friend. Actually, no, let's divulge. This was a special friend. This was the mistress of the host mother. So the host mother calls her mistress to host us at this guy's place. We go. I think a few days later, we end up going to this guy's apartment to kind of see the place. I was so skeptical. I remember
Yeah.
one night the host mom and this guy took us out to a restaurant somewhere on the coast, and we had oysters or something. And she was trying to kind of get us to know each other, so we're
Yeah, to
less
be
scared.
funny, friendly. Yeah.
Do you remember anything from that night?
When we were at the beach,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember it was like a restaurant, some kind of way, cafe restaurant. And we were the only one there, and we were like walking down the like. I don't remember much.
It was omnious, let's just say. But the one thing I remember, so as they were trying to kind of sweet talk us and make sure we're comfortable, I was serious. I was like on survival mode. I wanted to know who this person is. I couldn't trust this person. So I asked our funniest thing. I asked our host mom. This guy goes and gets us some drinks or something, some cocktails for the mother to please his mistress. And I asked him first, so what do you do? And he tells us, I can't tell you.
I remember that. Oh my god, I remember that.
You want us to move into your house and you can't tell me what your job is.
Yes, and the lady was also like,
And then he goes away. Yeah, yeah. The lady gives the best answer. He goes away and she writes on Google Translate and I read. He is like The FBI, but Turkish. The Turkish FBI.
This is golden. I can't even like the stuff that was happening. That was I can't even.
Giovanna and the other girl end up having to move at this guy's place. Can you tell us how the place was? How was staying there? I remember I refused to, so I ended up being hosted in the original host family's place. I was rescued, but you guys had to move.
Yeah, yeah, and in the meantime, I remember this girl and we also became closer. Like she's like silly, funny, has that kind of personality, and we had fun a lot, and like we were just laughing a lot, and we became close at the end. And because we had to move, like it wasn't an option for all of us to stay, and I didn't want her to move alone. And in some way, because she was also 18, maybe, or maybe even under
19, I
18.
think. She was 19.
Yeah, okay. So, and like definitely younger than me. And in a way, I felt responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want her to move to like a strange Turkish man alone. And so we did it together. And we we were not very comfortable, of course. He had his room. There was also like a separate room, and we would lock ourselves at night when we sleep, just in case. I mean, the guy was trying to make us, welcome. Yeah, like he bought food. He was telling us like you can use like whatever you want from fridge. He bought watermelon. He bought some stuff like you like drink. You can make yourself at home. However, his whole energy and whole vibe was very strange, and he had a gun as well, like that he was just casually wearing with himself when he went to the market, like what is it
The
called?
FBI never sleeps.
Yes, like bazaar. Yeah, bazaar. He went and like he was so suspicious the whole time, and we were just basically anytime we would sleep, we would have
Wow.
we would be under lock.
Wow.
And we tried to spend as much as of our day outside, in school, after school, like hanging out with people from school, and just be out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if it was during that time or before that our friend, the girl who I moved with, she met a guy in Turkey, a Turkish guy,
Mm-hmm.
who was staying in Antalya. He wasn't from Antalya, but he and his friend was staying
He
in
was from
Antalya.
Ankara or something.
Yeah, I think from Ankara as well. And
Honestly, that friend helped us so much.
yes, yes, but
Guys,
thinking
a survival strategy, get a boyfriend wherever you travel.
yes, yes, but also when you think about it, like now we okay, so they started hanging out together, like they weren't together like dating, but there was flirting and like stuff. So we got to know the guy as well. We spent some time like joking, and he was a nice guy. He seemed like a decent guy, both him and his friend. And in one one night, she goes with him, I don't know, like to go for a walk, whatever, and he drives her home, and he parks in front of the house. They stayed there for like 2 minutes, like they hug, and she comes in, and it wasn't even that late at night. It was like maybe 10 or something, 11 something. And she comes in, and the guy, our host, he started being so angry and upset, like how can he drive her there? How can I think he was in his head that maybe like someone was following him. I don't know. I think he was delusional.
Was jealous.
The someone was out to get him,
Hmm.
basically. And he didn't trust the guy. I mean, he was very suspicious of everything, and our friend started yelling, and she was like, "I'm gonna move. I don't want to live like this anymore." And the funniest thing, okay, so they wake me up, and I'm trying to be, in the middle, like trying to calm the situation, while the girl is packing up. She started packing up to leave in the
She was
middle
a
of the
drama queen.
night. Yes, she was so dramatic, and it was the funniest situation because the guy doesn't understand English, and she was so angry and speaking like, "Leave me alone," and he would put his phone near her so that he can turn translate on to hear what she's saying, or she would say something, he would repeat the sentence in English so that he can see from translate what does it mean what she was saying, and I couldn't take that seriously. It was so funny, but it was funny, but it was like because she was so upset, and I was like, okay, then we're moving again. So in the middle of the night, in that moment, it was maybe like midnight or so. And because they were having a conversation before that, it didn't escalate right away. They were having a conversation and they couldn't, find balance. We couldn't meet each other. And so she was being more and more angry. He was being more and more uh, like putting more pressure. And so dramatic that she is, she started packing. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna let you go out by yourself, and I don't want to stay here by myself. So we're gonna go together. And where we're gonna go, she decides to call the guy, her friend. And so we packed up and we leave in the middle of the night with a guy that we barely know. I mean,
Wow.
he seems like a decent guy. He was a nice guy, but in that point, like we've known him for like few weeks, not even.
Yeah, yeah. So from one place to another.
Yeah, yes, in the middle of the night with him and his friend. We stayed there, and I remember I was stressed in that moment because that was another time that we're gonna move, and we have to move once more because the guy wasn't staying there for a long time. He was gonna go back to Ankara. So we were trying to figure out that whole situation,
Yeah, I
and it
think
wasn't fun.
no. I remember, yeah, a lot happened during that time. That story is a heck of a story as well. Like our friend being very dramatic and having a place to move, you were lucky that you had another place to move
Yeah.
to, and these guys end up being rather good guys, like friendly. We end up having um, a meeting up with them after we have some interesting travel experiences because this happened a few weeks like during this happened for a few weeks. This was in that meantime um, we ended up traveling, didn't we? We had some really good travel experiences because what we used to
Hmm.
do is we would work 3 days of the week, and the students we had were lovely, the teachers were lovely. That was a really cool experience. I remember the students. I still remember the students that we had. They were really sweet. I
Yeah,
still
we
have.
made friends with them as well. And not that we were so close there, but we even went to sushi with one girl.
I can't remember. I think I remember that one part, but I remember the we went bowling and stuff. So they were really cool. Okay. So that's how we got into Antalya. That's how we got settled into this new adventure in our first volunteering experience and traveling abroad. As you can tell, it was with ups and downs, but the story doesn't stop here. This is
Yeah.
just the beginning.
Yeah. Yes. And when I was thinking about the whole story, I realized that just going to Antalya wasn't like stepping out of the comfort zone. It wasn't just like that part, like deciding to go and go there, but all these experiences that happen and the ones that we're going to talk about next time are things that got us very much out of the comfort zone. And we were looking now, babies. I mean, you were 18 and now you're finishing college.
That's wild. Yeah. There was nothing but discomfort, wasn't it?
Yes, actually, yes.
In the next episode, we're going to tell you about the travel we've done because it was not just these crazy stories that happened. It was also crazy adventures that we
Yeah.
willingly planned. Um,
And
so
spontaneously happen as well, like some trips that we didn't plan and that were till this day one of really, 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 in all honesty, one of the best days that I did have so far.
yeah, we heard that, guys, right? The best travel we've ever had so far. There were a few actually, which we're going to tell you about in the next episode. So right now, I'd like to end the conversation with exactly what Jovan just brought up, which is getting out of your comfort zone. Um, what was so obviously we've been in discomfort during this whole time, but what was the thing that made you make this step towards discomfort? What was the thing that maybe inspired you to get out of your comfort zone or at least try? Was it a book? Was it a feeling? Was it a philosophy? Um, could you tell us about that if you have any?
Back then,
Yeah.
just the curiosity, just the curiosity, and I think just the curiosity, like what I mentioned at the beginning, the joy of traveling. And I don't think I look at it, I don't think I was aware that I'm going out of my comfort zone. I think I was just excited for the new experience. I remember applying for Isaac and then calling my parents after that and telling them, do you know where is Antalya? And like trying to, start the topic like that. Do you know? Let me share you. Let me share with you. Let me show you. Look how beautiful it is. Well, guess what? I'm gonna be living there for a month and a half. I applied, and so I started telling the story, and that was the story that I was telling myself. I wasn't. I don't think I was consciously aware that I'm getting out of my comfort zone. In that moment, at
Mhm.
least.
You were just thrown into discomfort.
Yeah. How was it for you?
I think for me it was the self-development journey that I've been on that pushed me to go. But if we were to ask ourselves, would we do it again if we had the option? This is a thing that I've been kind of really questioning myself at the time because in that summer I had this feeling that I shouldn't go, this
Oh,
very strong feeling that I should not go. Um, I think it might have been the uncertainty of the entire thing because everything was all over the place and disorganized. But at the same time, I had this project in Romania. I was preparing to apply to university in September, and I was a big nerd, so I was really most summers I would prepare for the next academic year because I wanted to be ahead. And after I came back from that journey, I always questioned is like, would I really was that the right choice to make? Because I also end up going um because my sister wanted me to go. My
mm,
sister loved Turkey. She had a dream of going to Cappadocia, which I eventually ended up going to. But I went for her and I felt pushed to go. And maybe that added to the fear of going. Um, however, although that was not what I initially planned, what I initially wanted to do, in the end, it gave me the experience of a lifetime, which I don't think I would have gotten otherwise. This is one of the best stories of my life. And it wouldn't have happened if I just followed what I wanted to do or thought I have to do, I should do. And instead got out of my comfort zone and went on an adventure.
yeah. I have no regrets, to be honest, regarding that. The only thing that I felt sorry about is the financial aspect of it because I was in university. I wasn't like, I wasn't the one, yeah, paying for it. And it was, maybe you can say, pulsing decision from on my end. And that was the part that I felt sorry that I had to put my parents through it, where I didn't like necessarily had to go. But I'm grateful that they didn't stop me. They were like, okay, if that's what you want, if that's what you think that's gonna, benefit you, we're gonna support it. But that was the only part that, I feel maybe bittersweet thinking about back in when I think about back that about that period. But other than that, the whole experience and everything, I wouldn't, even those, like, I moved 5 times for those 6 weeks, and I wouldn't actually change it because it made me realize how capable I actually am. From
Exactly,
the very first
exactly.
day that I mentioned, like, having to manage you as well, like having to manage to get to the place, expecting for someone to wait for you at the airport and no one's waiting for you, and it's July, it's 42 degrees, and you're just dehydrated and hungry because you couldn't eat at the airport, and I didn't want to, like, buy overpriced food there, and me managing to get there was my the first day managing to get to the place where I was supposed to be. It was my first little win, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
change it.
I mean, I like how you signed up for these little challenges of traveling abroad, but you ended up being stranded, having to find accommodation, having to survive, having to deal with somebody that has a gun in his house, having to move in the middle of the night, having to live with an infested house. The house was infested, guys. Not nice. Um, and having to deal with all these crazy people, crazy situations, was definitely more than you signed up for, but um, definitely I'm glad that both of us went, and it led to a friendship of a lifetime, probably because we've been through these experiences together. Maybe,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Well, guys, we'll have to wait until next time to figure out why we became friends, because it's clear that at first we she didn't like me because I was very serious, clear. um, but somehow it's been 5 years, actually 6 years,
6 years.
and we've had a very strong friendship since.
And the interesting fun fact is that since Antalya, we have not met at all in person. Like, it was only a virtual thing, online long distance friendship.
Hashtag get Giovanna and Bianca together
Yeah,
again.
yes. Yes, yeah.
Right.
So many things to catch up on next time.
A lot of things to catch up on next time. I think we'll leave it as is for now. Thank you very much for watching, for listening. Watching, for listening.
Thank you very much. And if anything we said today spoke to you in any way, let us know. We can continue this conversation in the comment section or on socials. You can keep up with us on.
You can find us, guys, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, under Chicas Plus Equals Podcast, and also on Instagram and TikTok under Chicas Plus Equals. That is Chicas Plus Equals with an S at the end after equals. And we look forward to hearing from you guys. See you next time.
Keep showing up for yourself, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.